सूरह यासीन की तलावत जो है वो आपने समात फरमाई। और ये सूरह यासीन जो है ये एक बहुत ही खूबसूरत सूरह है। और आका अलैहिस्सलातु वस्सलाम ने इरशाद फरमाया कि मेरा दिल करता है कि हर उम्मती के दिल में जो है वो ये सूरह यासीन जो है वो अ, घर कर जाए। और इसलिए हमें ये सीखना भी चाहिए। और ज़ाहिर है बहुत सारे लोग जो हैं उन्होंने सूरह यासीन को जो है वो ज़बानी जो है वो याद किया होता है। लेकिन अनफॉर्चुनेटली जैसे मैंने काफ़ी दफ़ा अर्ज़ किया कि कुरान मजीद वो किताब है कि जिसे सबसे ज़्यादा जो है वो पढ़ा जाता है, लेकिन अनफॉर्चुनेटली बाकी किताबों की निस्बत सबसे कम जो है वो समझा जाता है। तो ख़वातीन रात सूरह यासीन की जो समरी है मैजेस्टिक कुरान से वो हम आपके सामने जो है वो पेश करेंगे। This is an early Meccan surah revealed at a time of severe tension between the Muslims and idolaters. The Prophet called this surah the heart of Quran. Uh, its central theme is convincing arguments for the doctrines of Tawheed, Risala, and Akhirah. Tawheed, Risala, and Akhirah. That's why it covers Tawheed is the most important thing, oneness of Almighty Allah. So it opens by reassuring the messenger of the importance of his role in guiding humanity and laments the history of human disobedience. The story of three messengers, which is, I think that there is a lot of lessons in this story. So, who were rejected by the people of the town, and is told to warn the Makkans. The chief reason identified for their disbelief is arrogance. Allahu Akbar, which they expressed as stubborn behavior. So, the brave supporter in the story who stands up for the messengers symbolizes the small band of Muslims in Mecca. So, thereby reassuring of divine help, the Meccans are warned of dire consequences of denial of truth. Have not they considered how many generations we destroyed before them? The second section of the surah describes Allah's amazing creative power and invites the reader to reflect on creation, a marvel of incredible complexity and beauty. Attention is drawn to the lifeless earth and how it comes to life when it rains, producing lush veget- vegetation. Concluding this section is how Allah will bring the dead to life. So there is lot of science in nature. So when you look at nature, when you look at our even own body, so there are a lot of lessons for us. So a description of judgment day follows. The trumpet will be blown, justice done. Evidence of one's God and bad deeds won't only come from records kept by the angels, but human limbs will speak. The accuracy and precision of the evidence will be unquestionable. A vivid account of the delight of paradise shows how its residents will see Allah in His glory and majesty. The surah opened with two claims. The messenger is divinely appointed to guide humanity, and the reality of resurrection. To prove this, it presented historical, rational, and moral evidence. The conceptual boundaries of the reader's mind are promoted to ponder the paradoxical sparks of the fire that come from rubbing together fresh twigs. Indeed, when he wants to do something, all he says is be, and it is. Glory to him who controls everything, and you shall be returned to him. Sadaqallahu Azim. So now we are going to start this surah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Yasin wal Qur'anil Hakim. Innaka laminal mursalin ala siratim mustaqim. Tanzil al Aziz Rahim. Litunzira qawman ma unzira aba'uhum fahum ghafilun. By the Quran, full of wisdom, you are a messenger on the straight path. This is a revelation from Almighty, the caring, to warn a community whose ancestors were not warned, so they are unaware. Next paragraph. The sentence against most of them is justified because they don't believe, as though we have placed in iron collars around their necks, right up to their chins, so their heads can't move. And we have placed a wall in front and behind them and hooded them so that they can't see. It makes no difference whether you warn them or not. They won't believe. And we have placed a wall in front and behind them and hooded them so that they can't see. It makes no difference whether you warn them or not. They won't believe. You can only warn someone who follows the reminder and fear the most kind, the unseen. So make him happy with the news of forgiveness and a generous reward. We will resurrect the dead and record all they sent ahead and the legacies they left behind, and we recorded everything in a clear book. As an example, tell them about the people of the town where the messengers came. We sent two at first. They rejected them, so we reinforced them with a third, and they said, "We are messengers sent to you." They said, "You are mortals like us. The most kind has not sent anything. You are lying." They said, "Our Lord knows we are messengers sent to you, and our duty is communicate the message clearly." They said, "We consider you an evil omen. If you don't stop, we will torture you and punish you severely." The messenger replied, "Your evil omen comes from yourself. Have not you been reminded? So you have gone beyond the limit." A brave man stands up for the messengers. A man comes running from the far side of the town and said, "My people, follow the messengers, follow those who do not ask you for any payments." Allahu Akbar. So this is criteria. We often say, these are the ulama so these are ulama haq, these are my scholar, this and that, and these are the true scholars. Often we had a very warm kind of discussion in our family and friends. Oh, my scholar are right, your scholars are right. Okay, so my scholars, they are much better than. And we unfortunately, we people in subcontinent, they try their level best to prove that whatever akida, whatever maslak they have, they are on the right path. But Allah told us the criteria in Surah Yasin, and it is about waja min aksal madinati rajulu yasa qala ya qaum ittabi'ul mursalin ittabi'u man la yas'alukum ajrun wa hum muhtadun. And this is the criteria of a da'i. If you want to check the scholars, just check on this criteria, that a man came running from the far side of the town and said, "My people, follow the messengers, follow those who don't ask you for any payment." You understand now? Now check those scholars who are asking some dunyavi benefit or worldly things from you, or they are just doing the preaching. So if they are asking some or they are looking for some worldly things and they are guided, there are two criteria or two things which we need to understand. That one is that they are not after the worldly things, and the second, they are guided. Malla yasalukum ajru wa hum muhtadun. Subhanallah. So this is the criteria. अगर हमने देखना है कि हमारे पास जो उलमाए कराम हैं, हमारे जिनको हम बड़ी उनकी जो है वो यानी उनको बढ़ा चढ़ा के बयान करते हैं, तो उसके लिए बड़ा एक सिंपल सा क्राइटेरिया है। वो ये है कि एक तो वो हदायत की रास्ते पे हो, कुरान और शरीयत के हवाले से वो बात करते हो, और दूसरा वो आपसे कोई अजर ना मांगे और ये ना कहेंगे यार मैं ये काम कर रहा हूँ तो मुझे इतनी सर्टेन अमाउंट जो है वो दे। और ये कल्चर तो अभी चला है, और ज़ाहिर है वो मुआवजा लेना जो एक फुल टाइम इमाम है या फुल टाइम वो दाई है या वो काम कर रहा है, उसमें कोई हरज वाली बात नहीं। लेकिन उसके अंदर ये लालच हो कि मैं ये काम करूंगा और मुझे लोग जो है वो बढ़ा चढ़ा के दौलत देंगे, तो फिर वो उस क्राइटेरिया के ऊपर ऊपर पूरा नहीं उतरता। इसलिए जब आप किसी को यानी ये चेक करना चाहते हैं, एक तो ये कि वो कुरान और सुन्नत की बात करे, और दूसरा उसे दुनियावी लालच ना हो। अब अक्सर लोग ये पूछते हैं जी वो मार्फत को नहीं है जनाब, सुकून को नहीं है, हैं? जो बड़े बड़े जोमा और बड़े बड़े स्कॉलर और बड़े बड़े उलमा और बड़े बड़े पीर हैं, उनमें जो है वो रूहानियत जो है नहीं मिलती। तो रूहानियत कहाँ मिलेगी जब पीर साहब का अल्टीमेट गोल ही जो है वो माजरत के साथ जो है वो पैसा होगा, और किस तरीके से जो है वो अपनी दुनियावी ज़िंदगी को जो है वो बेहतर बनाना चाह रहे हो। और पीरों के घर में तो जो है वो चिराग जल रहा है और मुरीदों के घर में चिराग भी नहीं है, इकबाल ने कहा था ना। तो इसलिए ख़वातीन हज़रात ये हमें बात बड़े ही ज़हन नशीन जो है वो कर लेनी चाहिए कि जो सूरह यासीन में जो ये क्राइटेरिया बताया गया ना कि हक पे वो कौन होगा, और वो खूबसूरत यानी वो आदमी आप अंदाज़ा लगाएं कि हक के ऊपर डटना कितना मुश्किल होता है। यानी हक के ऊपर आप बात करके तो देखें फिर आपका बनता क्या है? और वही हुआ उसके साथ। फिर उन्होंने जो है उसे छोड़ा तो नहीं है कि उसने कहा भाई देखो इनकी बात क्यों नहीं सुन रहे तुम। उन्होंने उन्हें तो छोड़ा, तो क्या किया, वमा लिया ला अबुदुल्लज़ी फतरनी व इलैहि तुरजाऊन। Why shouldn't I worship the one who created me and to whom you will return? أأتخذ من دونه آلهة أن يردني الرحمن بضر لا تغني أني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون. Should I take beside him gods whose intercession would not benefit me in the slightest if the most kind wanted to harm me, nor would they be able to save me? إني إذا لفي ضلال مبين إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون. I would be plainly misguided. I choose to believe in your Lord, so please listen to me. Allahu Akbar. The brave man is martyred and taken to paradise, and unfortunately, that brave man, they actually martyred him, and he taken to the state after, when his life disconnected from this world and transferred to the heaven. So what he said, Kila dhulil jannah, enter the garden of paradise, he was told. قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون. And when actually, when you know that someone, and it happened in our daily life, that the people are trying to tell you do this, and particularly the parents tell their kids that okay, work hard, put your attention in studies. And we observe a lot of people, if they are not properly educated, or they didn't end up in a good position or good grades, they repent and they say, oh, काश असा अपने अम्मा अब्बा की गल सुन ली होंदी। आप अभी इर्द गिर्द देखे ना अपने, तो लोग कहते हैं यार पहले अगर असी अम्मा अब्बा की गल सुन लेंदे, असी भी हुण पढ़ जाते हैं। तो इसी तरह जब वो कामयाब हो गया और वो जन्नत में चला गया, तो उसने क्या किया? If only my people knew, he said, the extent to which my Lord has forgiven me and placed me among those worthy of honor. Allahu Akbar. कि लोगों मुझे लोगों काला यहाँ लई, यानी ये जो इंग्लिश ट्रांसलेशन है या उर्दू ट्रांसलेशन है, ये उन फीलिंग को जो है वो नहीं एक्सप्रेस कर सकती, और ना ही हमारी ज़बान से कुरान के वर्ड्स जो हैं वो एक्सप्रेस हो सकते हैं। ये मीनिंग है, ट्राई की जा सकती है, और जितनी भी मैं समझता हूँ जिन्होंने ट्रांसलेशन किया वो कभी भी ये नहीं कहते कि हम जो असल मुद्दा था वो बयान, लाइक काला या लई तक कौमी, यानी वो उसमें गम और वो जो दुख है अपनी कौम का दर्द है, वो उसके अंदर जो है वो निकल रहा है, और वो कह रहा है काला या लई तक कौमी आलम। ही वाज, इफ ओनली माय पीपल न्यू कि अल्लाह ने मेरे साथ क्या इकराम किया, अल्लाह ने मुझे क्या इज्जत दिया, सुभान अल्लाह। बिमा गफर अली रब्बी वजअलनी मिनल मुकरमीन, the extent to which my Lord has forgiven me and placed me among those worthy of honor, जो अल्लाह ने इज्जत दी है। मुश्किलात तो बहुत आती हैं दीन के काम में, हक बात का जो है वो चलना हो, तो उसके ऊपर मुश्किलें ही मुश्किलें हैं, कांटे ही कांटे हैं। शहादत गए उल्फत में कदम रखना, लोग आसान समझते हैं मुसलमान होना। वमा अंज़लना अला कौमिही मिन बादी मिन जुंदि मिनस समाई वमा कुन्ना मुनजिलीन। Therefore we didn't send any army against his people from the sky. We don't do that. In kanat illa sayhatan wahidatan faizahum khamidun. Just one blast, that's all, and they were lying dead. Ya hasratan ala al-ibad ma yatihim min rasulin illa kanu bihi yastakhziun. What a shame, whenever a messenger came to a community, they mocked him. Alam yarau kam makhlaqna qablahum min al-quruni annahum ilayhim la yarji'un. Haven't they considered how many generations we destroyed before them? None will come back to them. وَإِن كُلٌّ لَمَّا جَمِيعٌ لَدَيْنَا مُحْضَرُونَ. Yet they will all present it before us. So, my dear brothers and sisters, the essence, the summary is that we need to not only the Surah Yasin we need to learn by heart, but we need to understand the meaning of that one. And you know, the majestic Quran, or there is a separate Surah Yasin translation. It is very helpful for the youngster, for the teenagers, even 10-year-old kid can read this and understand what is the meaning of first two raku until the ayah 32. So we should tell our kids that please learn the meaning of this surah. So the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam given those, you know, that benefit of learning surah yasin, we can take the benefit for them. And this is shifa as well. पूरा कुरान जो है वो शिफा भी है, और शिफा किस तरह है कि जब हम इसके मतलब समझेंगे, इसके मीनिंग समझेंगे और इनको पूरी दुनिया में के अंदर जो है वो फैलाने की कोशिश करेंगे, उस वक़्त इंशाअल्लाह जो है वो अल्लाह ताला हमारी जो है वो अ, जी ख़वातीन हज़रात, आप सुन रहे हैं रेडियो डॉन 107.6 एफएम और मैं हूँ आपका मेज़बान मोहम्मद नसरुल्लाह। ख़वातीन हज़रात, सिस्टर ज़ोहरा माशाअल्लाह she have arrived in studio and welcome back to Islam Nottingham. So where we dive deep into today inshallah about spirituality and everyday practices that can help us live fuller, more mindful life. And today, as usual, joining us, our wonderful sister Zora. Mashallah, I would say that a seasoned spiritual guide and a teacher. So she been in academia for a long time, mashallah. And I often say different people who are teaching in primary or middle school. So because I have experience in university, so it's quite easy, but to deal with the kids, so it is very most difficult thing. But today we are focusing on living in the present moment. Yesterday we talked about a few things that if we are going to do the gratitude, and I have given some meditation to my listeners, Sister Zora. So, mashallah, Assalamu alaikum, Sister Zora, and it is great to have you with us. Jazakallah.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sorry, let me start that again.
Again, yes, please.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to you and your listeners, Pai. I'm very sorry I stumbled there. It's just I've been running around with my kids this morning because my one of my children is not very well. He's okay, not too bad, but just a bit of a man flu, you know.
So, Sister Zora, so where do we begin? So, living in the present can sometimes feel elusive, like trying to catch a wave. But in Islamic teaching, so we are reminded time and again and time and that in Islamic teaching we are reminded time and again about the value of the present moment. So
What a beautiful
yesterday,
poetic subject you've
yeah,
chosen.
yesterday we discussed about this one, and we found out some practices, and I have given the meditation like that breath when you are going to inhale and exhale your breath. So and another very important thing which I mentioned, that is the gratitude, thankfulness, and Allah says la in shakartum la azidannakum. So we need to think about some of my listeners, they have done the practice. I just remind them, just think about three blessings in your life and just thankful to those blessings, and you will feel, and you will move into living in a moment. And I also discussed, I'm just going briefly, and then it's your turn, that I will give you 80% of my time and 20%. We have just 20 minutes, so I'm just going to summarize what actually I explained. So then, that different kind of life and meditation, and the prayer is the best meditation if you want to live in a moment in that thing. Because that most of us actually we are living in the past or in the future, unfortunately. So what we do, we are just thinking about the bad things happen in past, and we are scared about the things which are not even going to happen in the future. We are just thinking about those things, how we can live in a moment. Many verses of the Quran also saying of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam emphasize living with awareness and gratitude for each moment. So, powerful hadith remind us that we should be in this world as if you are a traveler or passerby. So this reflects the concept of dunya, the temporary world. So being a temporary, it is a reminder to detach from the anxieties about the past or future, and focus what we can do now to cultivate goodness. Yes, sister. Go ahead.
Firstly, like I said, Bhai, what an amazing topic that you've chosen, mashallah. It's very poetic and it's, subhanallah, I don't even have the words other than, you know, to be present, to be, in the moment is basically to be connected to your Lord at all times. Because you're absolutely right, right? We spend so much time worrying, either about the past or about the future or about bills or fines or, money and everything around us. And we also spend a lot of time sort of moaning about things. So, for example, as a woman, mashallah, for example, uh, especially the women that I know, there's so many women who have dedicated their lives to their families and they don't have careers. And they're just the most amazing women. But I honestly, though, as someone who's always worked, as well as had her own, I've been an artist, I've worked, I've done housework as well, and all of that. But I would find it really difficult to just be in the house and focus completely 100% on the house, on the family. And sometimes when I do that, I have to give so much shukr. I have to say, praise and thanks be to Allah. Even the things that we think are, that we don't like are actually sometimes so good for us. For example, when I'm in the house and I feel like, oh my God, there's so much housework, it's overwhelming, you know, and so many other issues and problems. And sometimes I think about these great women in the community who are just so incredible. Their dedication to their families, their sacrifice for their families. And so, what I'm saying by is one way of living in the moment and, feeling content is to constantly, my late father, bless him, used to always say, always look beneath you, don't look above you. Yani, compare yourself with people who have less, and automatically you will find a hand that helps you. The divine hand will help you out of your depression. In every moment, I am remembering now Palestine and what's happening in Palestine, what's happening in Sudan, what's happened in Iraq. How many people had to lose their lives pointlessly. And then you just begin to feel that, for me, I just start to feel, subhanAllah, as much as our heart is hurting, we also understand that they're going to a good place, inshallah. But we also understand that life is fleeting. We start to value life. And then I think we have to start to value the people in our lives because, by, being married to a wonderful sister, I'm married to a wonderful brother of yours. Basically, we sometimes, when we're in our own homes, we don't realize the goodness that Allah has put beside us. So if we start to wake up and start to be really good to, for example, our spouses, our parents, our children, we start to improve the quality of life. How? How? Just by, for me, right? I'd like to know what you think, but for me, it's just like you said. We start to live in the moment by being grateful, by understanding that there's people out there with the most awful circumstances. Like I said, you only have to look at what's happening in Palestine to start getting the perspective on gratitude. And if you can, sorry, but just lastly, if you can start to really connect, because what I meant by, our own companions and our own spouses is that, sometimes we're all caught up in this hurly-burly of life. It's so pressurizing. And so our companions just become like, you do this, I'll do that. You do this, I'll do that. It's like you're just getting the jobs done throughout the day. That's all you're both doing.
Yeah.
But when you actually stop and say, Subhanallah, glory be to Allah, that He has placed this magnificent being next to me, and I'm so blessed, and you start to see the positives, then life starts to become so much more pleasant because you work harder to make the best of what you have.
Yeah, actually, now we were discussing for last few weeks about these things, and now we are on the phase that we are going to tell our listeners about. Yesterday, I actually told few things, and the simple way to start is by choosing one of the beautiful name of Allah, Ya Hayyu, Ya Qayyum. Another is Al Wadud. So Ya Hayyu means the ever living.
the ever living,
And
subhanAllah,
Al Wadud means the loving.
the loving.
So,
Yes,
and
mashallah.
repeating it gently, either aloud or silently in your heart. As you repeat, focus on the meaning and feel your connection with the divine deepening with each repetition. No distractions to fall away. So another approach is also, I often mention that it is a muraqabah, a form of meditation practiced by many Sufi orders. So muraqabah means to watch over or to observe, and it involves sitting quietly, focusing on one's breath and keeping one's awareness in the present while feeling Allah presence around and within us. And I did this practice, Alhamdulillah. During the prayer, you can do the practice. As-salatu mirajul mu'min. So it kind of the meeting, and you feel that Allah is present around and with us. And when Allah is with us, so nothing is be able to be trusted in this universe but Allah. And when the Allah is around you, and when you are that just going to approach to Almighty Allah and reaching out to Allah and just telling that, oh Allah, these are my difficulties, these are my problems, and please, oh Allah, resolve these problems. And inshallah, that is the best practice, I think. Almost like cultivating an inner stillness that helps us stay grounded in the present. So how long should one practice like a zikr or muraqabah? What do you think, that, and if you have any experience or the other.
Yes, I do, I actually, because I'm very much a huge fan of Nottingham. I love them so much, mashallah. And they that whole mashallah, group or that whole understanding is all about zikr. It's they live their lives around zikr. So I don't think you can ever do enough zikr. I think that the more you do, the more blessed you become, the more your spirituality, your soul becomes more connected with your material, animalistic enough side, the more you begin to feel your own soul. So, for example, with Naqshbandi, mashallah, they have certain practices that they do in the morning. And obviously, you can tailor them down or you can do the full one. I'm still trying to get there, but they have really helped me to connect with Allah on a very deep level. So please do, if you can, look up some of their practices because they are absolutely wonderful zikr that they do. Um, and the other thing I would say recently, there was a wonderful young doctor. She's done a PhD on Allah's names. So perhaps next week, if you don't have time this week, I got that because we've got a wonderful brother here who does the programming, and he puts some amazing programs on. And I heard her, and I quickly wrote her name down and looked her up afterwards. And she's done a whole PhD around Allah's names. But we have to remember that the Arabic language is so rich. Right? And Sheikh Ibrahim Hakmi was telling me that apparently, most of the European languages, they have like a few 100,000 words and stuff like that. With Arabic, we're talking millions,
Mm.
millions, right? I won't quote the exact number, but the point is this, that imagine the richness of Allah's names. If one Arabic word has potentially up to 30 meanings, you imagine how much more we have to discover about Allah's name,
So,
subhanAllah. So this lady, sorry, just to say this, she was mentioning Al-Razzaq, right, which is the provider, yeah, the one who gives us our daily sustenance. So that's a word that, that's a name of Allah, an attribute that we constantly take on our tongue when we're in difficulty. But the way she explained it was so lovely because she was saying it doesn't just relate to, you directly getting rizq or directly getting sustenance. It's not just about that. It's about all the blessings in your life.
so,
Right? And if you literally, I mean, Ibn Arabi once said that we are literally wading. We are, in other words, we are knee high in Allah's, or neck high, whatever you want to say, in Allah's miracles. Allah's miracles. We are living in Allah's miracles. And like, sorry, I'm talking so much, but this is such a lovely topic. I'm just going to say that recently, because of everything that I've seen in Palestine, I sort of started to think about death so much more. And subhanAllah, we're all going to pass. We never accept that actually. In the West, sadly, they kind of make us forget that. But we are all going to pass. And so every person that comes across your path in this short time that we're here, see them as a blessing and a nur and a lesson for you. Subhanallah.
Okay, so mashallah, it's a wonderful and that is the lovely mashallah. So we will announce later at some point. Yeah. So let's what we need to do start with just 5 to 10 minutes. So now we are in the phase. We have discussed a lot of things about the well-being and about the stress and anxiety, and now we need to. We are gradually we are moving. If you are a regular listener, so you have listened a lot of things about well-being and mindfulness and how you can make your heart blissfulness. So now we are going to start practical steps. So just 5 to 10 minutes. It is about equality, not the quantity. So that matters. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam encouraged short, consistent practices over longer occasional ones. So for example, if you are reading 10 ayat, so regularly read 10 ayat and the translations. So it is more beneficial. So if we are intentional, even a few minutes can bring peace and clarity to the rest of it. Start with the Surah Yasin, use to nafal, and that hand over all your difficulties. When you are, that when I talked about feelings, Allah presence around and within us. So it means that we are handing over our problems to Almighty Allah. So it is true, even a little mindfulness can transform the way we experience our daily life. So let's talk about a practice we can try. That we can try together. So yeah, like that Sister Laura, yesterday I said that yeah, when we inhale our breath, so we can say Ya Hayyu, and when we are going to exhale, we can say Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum. So, what do you think these practices can help the zikr of meditation? They can that can help in our practices.
Right. What I do know is with Naqshbandi practices, what we do, we always start with Astaghfirullah. So it's like you're asking for forgiveness, you're cleansing yourself first. And so for example, might do up to about 100 minimum, and very quick. It literally takes, right, it will take you about 2 minutes. This is the sad thing that we don't realize how quick these practices are. And they're so quick, but they bring so much blessing. They will bring so much positive energy into your life. You will see things changing. So, for example, we start with, at the moment, I start with Astaghfirullah 100 times, and then La ilaha illallah, which basically confirms the oneness, the tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah. So, you're sort of, first of all, you're cleansing yourself, you're asking for forgiveness with Astaghfirullah, and then you're going into La ilaha illallah. If you don't have time to do 100, right? Sometimes I just tell my children, just do, if you're rushing, just do three each, or just do seven each, you know. So they'll do maybe seven of Astaghfirullah, then seven La ilaha illallah, and then seven Qul Wallahu Ahad Allahu Samad. Yeah. And then by whatever you think, for example, what you're saying is beautiful, but I always do Durood Sharif
What?
because we know that, I know we've repeated this a lot on the show, mashallah, but we as Muslims believe that Prophet Muhammad was sent as the mercy to all of humankind. So, in other words, if you want to attract Allah's grace and Allah's mercy, you have to also make it a daily practice to recite Durood Sharif or salawats. So, in other words, you're sending salutations upon our beloved Prophet, peace be upon him. But yes, like I agree with you that some of these names of Allah, the attributes, by taking those names and those attributes from your tongue, wallahi, I have personally felt the guidance. I
Yes.
have felt the inner calm.
Subhanallah.
Because wait, think about it. I mean, I always call myself a struggling soul.
Mhm.
Sometimes we're literally struggling from moment to moment. It will, like, sometimes it feels like you have so many troubles or difficulties, or it may just be that you're time hungry. You don't have enough time to fit everything. You've got lots of responsibilities.
Yes.
So the thing is, by taking or remembering your Lord through zikr, you are actually, for me, it's like you're submitting again to Allah and you're saying, I'm not in charge. You're letting go of your ego and you're saying, Allah, you are in charge. You
Subhanallah.
are the all powerful.
Subhanallah.
You are the creator of this vast universe and God knows how many other worlds. Only you know. You know? And this is, if you think about it, right, the whole religious and spiritual teaching is really about the ego versus the creator. And once you start to submit your ego and say, I don't need to depend on myself, this is why in our belief, zikr can actually even heal you from the most awful illnesses. It can heal you from poverty. It can heal you from, depression. It can heal you and help you with your marital life, with so many. And ultimately, it can heal you from the evil of your own self and the mistakes of your ego and your nafs, which, as we know, Shaitan has promised, Allah subhanahu, well, he's challenged Allah, hasn't he? And he said, I will wait for them, i.e. your creation, on every path, and I will ambush them. I will try to attack them at every. But we know Shaitan has no power if we ourselves are strong. So,
Mashallah.
so for me, if you're reverberating with Allah's beautiful zikr, then you're strengthening your energy, you're strengthening your own fortress against evil, against harm, against negative energy out there. You're building your own beautiful wall with the help of your Lord, not through your own egotistical efforts, kind of thing.
Mashallah. Subhanallah. Sister Zora, can you please do the announcement?
Yes, of
Quickly, yeah.
course. Yes, yes. So, as you know, on the show, mashallah, Nasrullah has always given a lot of time to the Bridgeford Muslim Action Group, who are a wonderful, innovative group, a part of the West Bridgeford Mosque. Mashallah, and they've come up with something really so beautiful. They were supposed to come on the show. I don't know what happened, but they were doing something which is called Salatul Ghaib, right? And this is basically a special funeral prayer in honor of all the martyrs,
Mhm.
right? So it's a special prayer, and it's going to be on Saturday. Obviously, it's honoring the martyrs in Lebanon and Palestine. So it's going to be on Saturday at 12:30 p.m. So that's the 9th of November, Saturday, 12:30 at West Bridgeford Mosque. Okay, so let's just see if there's an address. Um, Actually, Guy, I'm so sorry. It's not at the West Bridgeford Mosque. It says location, Brian Clough statue, Nottingham. So that's
Yes.
in the city centre,
City
isn't
center.
it?
Yes. Yes.
So they're going to actually read prayer. So the Muslim prayer, which is the proper salah, namaz, in honour of the deceased, all the martyrs, people who have lost their lives, which at the moment stands at about 45,000.
No, yeah.
Yeah, but remember, they say that the missing people actually account for 200,000, and obviously they won't know that until Israel has kind of stopped its
Yeah.
bombardment. They can catch a breath,
Yes.
but it's apparently estimated that the realistic total figure is supposed to be around 200,000.
Jazakallah, sister. So, Jazakallah and mashallah, it's, that the reflection you have shown about the zikr. So, absolutely, let's do some simple zikr meditation. So, I invite all of you listening to join us. You can sit comfortably wherever you are. So, this can you do later on if you are driving at the moment. So, don't close your eyes, please. And
No, please don't close your eyes on the road.
but if you are at home and listening us, so you can close your eyes and take a deep breath. And as you exhale, let go of any tension in your shoulders, your face, your mind. So, now, let's softly repeat Al-Hayyu. It means that everlasting. When we inhale, Ya Hayyu, and when you exhale, we can say with each repetition, feel life flowing into you, around you, and within you. Al-Hayy means Al-Hayy, Al-Hayy means Zindagi. Focus on sensation of being alive in this moment and grateful for this breath, for this heartbeat. Know that we should be thankful. Almighty Allah, and that's what we do. Alhamdulillah. Alladhi ahyana ba'da ma amatana wa ilayhi nushur. So we ask forgiveness from Almighty Allah. May Allah give us strength to